5 dumb things that SDRs waste their time on. I'm not saying this to be harsh. I wasted my time with all of this stuff when I was a new SDR, and the point of this video is to help you work smarter, not harder. It's to help you work on things that are actually going to improve your KPIs, what you're measured on, and make you more money and help you get promoted. So in this video, I'm going to cover the 5 most common areas I see SDRs wasting their time that you're probably guilty of as well. So let's get into it. The first most deadly area SDRs waste their time on is by showing up each day without a plan, not having a plan they put in place for the week or for the quarter, and they show up thinking, what list do I need to build today? I got to add these contacts to my list, and what are their phone numbers, and what do I have to do for my AE today? You want to show up knowing what to do rather than having to come up with what to do, because this is literally wasting time. A lot of reps get to work, whether you're in the office or at home, at 8:30, and it's not till 9:30, 10 that they actually start doing productive things for the day because they didn't have this planned out beforehand. You want to reduce friction in your day by having things in place that you can mindlessly do no matter how you feel or what's going on that day. This includes having all your lists for the week or for the quarter built up front so that you don't have to go out and spend time researching contacts and putting their phone numbers on a list and doing all that dead space work that just should be done up front so that you can just focus on execution going forward. This is going to reduce friction and make it much easier to get your day started. An analogy would be how Steve Jobs used to wear the same black turtleneck every day. This is an extreme example. I'm not recommending doing this, but he didn't want to think about mindless stuff like that that wasn't important. What do I got to wear today? He just wanted to get his day started and had a plan in place so he didn't have to think about it. You want to be doing this in the SDR role as well. The second most deadly area, and it's a trap a lot of SDRs fall into, is doing too much busy work for their account executive and activities that aren't focused on their KPIs or generating pipeline. This could be things like your account executive wants to drive attendance to some webinar and wants you blasting out a bunch of emails to try and get people to show up to an event, even though you know most people probably aren't going to this event. Yes, you want to work hand in hand with your account executive and have a good relationship, but you can't spend too much of your time doing activities that only serve them and don't serve you. A lot of account executives take it further and they just ask their SDRs to do things that are just frankly their job. It's their responsibility, things that you shouldn't be doing. So you can scratch their back a little. Yes, you definitely want to have a good relationship with them. That's half the battle as an SDR, but you can't spend too much of your time doing work and activities that serves your account executive and isn't focused on what gets you paid and what's ultimately going to get you promoted. The third most common area a lot of SDRs waste their time, and I don't think this is their fault at all. I think this is the fault of the people who train them, are focusing and worrying about these really niche situations that don't even really come up that much, but you spend an outsized proportion of your time preparing for them. A very common example of this is how to handle a gatekeeper. If you go on YouTube, how to handle a gatekeeper, some of those videos have like hundreds of thousands of views. Most training programs spend way too much time focused on having SDRs train for this. I'm telling you, I've been cold calling for 6 years. I think I've come across one true gatekeeper. I'm not talking about a receptionist who answers and you give them the extension and they dial you to the person you're going after. I'm talking about someone like an executive assistant, someone whose job it is to protect the time of the person you're attempting to get in contact with. And the reason I don't come across gatekeepers is because I just call cell phones. There's nothing people can really do about it. People's contact information is out there. It's on platforms like ZoomInfo or Apollo.io. So I think your time is better spent focusing on actually nailing your value statements or handling common objections, not how to prepare for things like gatekeepers. And this is just one example. And if you want to know how I would handle a gatekeeper, I would treat them no differently than if the person I was actually trying to contact answered. I would deliver my value statement, tell them who I am, why I'm calling, and then what I want. But instead of asking for time on the EA's calendar, I would ask for time on that person's calendar. I would treat them no differently. You don't have to prepare for these niche situations that much. An analogy I'd use is think about someone in the NBA like Dwight Howard or someone. Do you think he's out there practicing three-pointers? No, because there's never really a situation where that happened. Yes, there could theoretically be a situation where it could be useful for Dwight Howard to know how to hit a three, but he's way better off just focusing on how to play close to the basket in the scenarios that he's going to be in 99.9% of the time. The fourth common area a lot of reps waste their time, and I was guilty of this, is just taking the first template or the first script that they find and running with it. There's no point in coiling the spring and doing all this work, building all these lists, getting really targeted, if you're just gonna take the first template, who you probably got from, I don't know, an average performing rep, it was just the first one you came across, and then you just start blasting it out. You wanna be getting your scripts and your templates from reps who are top performers, because you know what they're using works. And then yes, you wanna tweak it so that it's comfortable for you and you wanna continue optimizing it. You don't wanna just blindly take what other people have. But I'm surprised at how reps will put in hours of work actually prospecting and making emails and making dials, but they only spent like 5 minutes looking for a script. They just took the first one that came across them and they just ran with it. And then the fifth and final area a lot of SDRs waste their time is worrying about what prospects think about them or what peers think about them, worrying about what other people think about them. If we start with prospects, you're calling some random people whose face they can't see you, you can't see them. They're just a name in the database of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people you could be contacting. You're probably contacting some random guy in Arkansas you're never gonna see again. But we get so worked up and stressed and cold call anxiety about calling these people we're never gonna see again. You almost want to adopt the mindset that these prospects are just NPCs out there that you're never gonna hear from again, because that's what it is. If they do take a meeting with you, great, you're gonna build a relationship with them. If they don't, there's no harm, no foul. So don't let this slow you down and impact your performance at work, being worried about what some person you're never gonna see again thinks about you on a cold call. And then peers too, this is a lot more prevalent, especially in the office. I remember when I was new, I was really nervous when we started making cold calls live with other people standing around, because usually the office was pretty silent until someone got alive and there were like 50 people listening to you and how your cold call went. Everyone is in the same situation. Everyone gets bodied on their initial cold calls. I'm 6 years in and I still get bodied on cold calls all the time. It's not something you need to worry about. You shouldn't worry about what other peers think. The ones who get too worried about it and are actually judging other people, which I've found isn't that many at all, but the ones who actually do, they're not the ones who actually cut it in tech sales. They usually drop out after the first year because they can't even themselves make the cold calls. So keep these 5 things in mind. You don't want to be wasting your time. You want to be focused on activities that are actually going to improve your KPIs and get you to where you want to go, which is most likely that account executive role or wherever you want to promote to next. So hope this helped. If it did, hit the like button and I'll see you on the next one.